Hey people, I decided to make a video because um I've been thinking about the food that I've been buying as of late. Because one thing I noticed is that when I go to and I do this out of laziness, I just go to a regular grocery store and I've been noticed it. It's one thing I noticed compared to like organic food is that it's way bigger and it sometimes it just don't be looking right. And what I think inspired me to really stop buying food in the regular grocery stores is when I went to another seminar because finally when I went to that Dr. Africa's lecture, I went to that on September 7th. I was put on the email list where I get sent emails of all the events that's happening in the Charlotte area. That's in the conscious community, the Black conscious community. So I was so glad to get on that list because I'm starting to get more events that I can go to on the weekends. And one of the events I went to is with the Kamit Wellness Center, the Kamit Natural Foods Wellness Center. It's in Charlotte. It's KAMIT Natural Foods Wellness Center. And I guess they talk about, of course, they educate people, of course, on healthy eating and help people, go through the process of, cleaning their diet up. And they also do fast classes, that portion is free. And I stayed after the event that I went to with it. They had a little seminar where a farmer, his name is Bernard Obi, and he has a farm in actually it's in Virginia. I forgot which city and which town in Virginia, but it's like 3 hours away from Charlotte. It's like on the Virginia-North Carolina line. And they had like a little tour this past weekend, but I didn't go to it, partially because of the distance. I really wanted to go, but partially because it's 3 hours away, and yeah, I would have had to plan. That's one of those things you had to plan, because they had the tour for like an hour, and I mean from 1 until 5 was the tour, and of course that means you got to leave early in the morning to get there at 1, because I want to get there as early as I can so I can leave early enough to get back home at a reasonable hour. But yeah, but he was a good speaker. He pretty much you could tell he had like a biology background, which is cool. And he grew up on a farm. I'm just paraphrasing everything. He grew up on a farm, and he went off to school, and he was obviously I'm assuming he was a biology major, because he kept referencing, doing his graduate studies, and I believe he may have had a PhD. I'm not sure, but when he was telling certain stories, you could tell that he was a science major, which I thought was cool, because I was a science major, biology major, and I know that I've been going back and forth on whether I really want to work in the biology field, like the typical run-of-the-mill working in a research lab. I really don't want to do that. So it's kind of inspired me, because even though he's not in a typical lab, he's had many jobs, as he stated, 6-figure. He has had 6-figure. I'm not gonna say many, but he's had 6-figure jobs, making that much money, working in different what did he say he worked at? I know he worked at like a meat plant. He's worked, from what I gathered, it seemed like he may have worked with testing foods and something like that. That's what I'm assuming based off of what he was saying. But he decided to go back to farming because, of course, I'm assuming it felt like he was probably working against what he really believed in, so he felt like going back to what his truth is, which is to be working as a farmer. But it inspired me because, like I said, I went to school for biology, and I really don't want to. There's a lot of things in the science field that I just, to a certain degree, don't agree with, and I feel like it goes against what I believe in. But to see that he's using what he studied in a different way, but he's still using it, I think is really cool, or whatever. But he was mainly talking about GMOs and how we should know what is in our foods. And I took notes. He pretty much, of course, he went over what a GMOs is, and of course we all know that it's genetically modified organisms or whatever. And eugenics. I did not know about this, and I was kind of shocked that I didn't know about this I was a science major. But eugenics, that's kind of sad. I don't know, whatever. But I did not know that eugenics, that genetics derived from eugenics. Eugenics, which is EUGENICS, and that's the deliberate manipulation of genetic makeup of human population. So it's pretty much like selective birth control, in other words, like genocide, pretty much taking people, or a group of people who you may think is inferior, and finding ways to make sure that they do not reproduce. Think about things like the Holocaust and things of that nature. And I'm pretty sure you think of also, what is it, Planned Parenthood, that lady who, I forgot her name, that started Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, the Negro Project, things of that nature. And I did not know this, but the Rockefeller Foundation, they focused they funded a lot of this stuff. Very interesting to me. And he also talked about the Green Revolution, and of course that he mentioned how that, I didn't know the name of it, but I remember watching this on Food Inc., watching the movie Food Inc., and also reading the book Fast Food Nation, and they talk a little bit about this. This began in Mexico, and it spread to Latin America, and farmers, they don't save the seeds to the recipient. They buy the new hybrid of seeds from, bear with me because I'm reading from notes that I took a couple of weeks ago. But pretty much what it's just saying is that normally what farmers used to do, what farmers still do today, but not as many farmers, is that they used to they plant their own seeds that they may have had in their family for years. And what happens is that these big businesses come about, and they make these farmers give up the seeds that they may have had for years and been growing them for years, and make them buy these particular seeds that are pretty much like GMO seeds. And you can't regrow these seeds. You have to continuously buy them every time you plant. It's crazy. It's messed up, man. If you could watch Food Inc., you'll be mad. You wouldn't want to affiliation with Monsanto. You wouldn't want to do any of that. It's like really messed up. Hold on, what? I gotta get, my laptop is about to die, and I would hate to be, talking in this laptop die, and I'm filming from my laptop. So hold on one moment. I didn't even have to move. I would edit this out, but I don't know how to edit yet, so so whatever. But yeah, back to what I was saying. It is real messed up. It makes you not want to have any soybeans at all. What else? So from eugenics comes genetics, which comes with GMOs. I'm trying to just see if there's anything that stood out from these notes. It was really interesting. It just made me want to. Oh, another thing that what he talked about is how we as as far as in the black community, we need to get back into you know, farming, into, you know, growing crops, because that's becoming a lost art. And I think about back when I was a kid and growing up, me and my sister, my cousins, we used to, my grandmother and my granddad, they live in South Carolina, in Beaufort, South Carolina. For people who grew up on like watching Gullah Gullah Island, you know, it's kind of like that. That's where they live, like on St. Helena Island. That's where Gullah Gullah Island was actually filmed. Some of that stuff was filmed over in that area. But they live on a little island that's near like Hilton Head, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, or whatever. But it's like, when I think of that, I think of the country, because that's where they live, and it was straight country, and it was more country back then than it is now. But back then, of course, I didn't appreciate it back then when I was younger. I just thought, oh boy, I'm going to my Nana house, and she don't have no cable, and and they have to burn their trash and stuff. But I look back on that stuff, and I really appreciate it so much, because growing up, and still, I mean, I don't think they do it as much now, but definitely growing up, they have a field, and they used to grow so much crops, you know, as far as corn. I remember them having a corn in the backyard, and okra, and peas, and green beans, and cantaloupe, and watermelon in the summer, squash, and greens, all kind of stuff, you know. And I really appreciate that, because we used to go out early in the morning, and we used to pick you know, the crops or whatever. But one thing that I wish that I would have focused more on growing up was what they did to actually grow. I mean, you know, put down the seeds and stuff. And I'm definitely going to do that now, because I really want to have my own garden one day. I really want to grow my own crops. I really wanted my future children to know how to do these things. I feel like that's something that we really need to get back into. It's something that I'm glad that I experienced. I'm glad that I experienced the country life, because I really appreciate it so much. I remember growing up, and we cut a Christmas tree. That's something I always remember. Remember going crabbing, and my grandparents catching the blue crab. I remember all that great stuff, you know, stuff like that. I really appreciate. But Farmer Bernard, he talked about we're learning the art and science of gardening, to teach children to do the same, to start or participate in the community garden, to start a food co-op. And that's pretty much what the Kamit Natural Foods Center does. They do have a food co-op where every month you pay like a certain amount of money. You get like a box of fresh food, fresh crops that come from a farm. So they do that monthly, and I'm gonna start participating in that. Support also the local farmers markets, and that's what I'm doing now. Now, I went to the Charlotte farmers market this past weekend, and I got a whole little small box. I'm gonna show you the box that never mind, I can't show you the box right now. It's like a little nice size box. I bought a whole little box of food, and it cost me only $18. And that food is definitely, it's only me. It's gonna last me at least a week and a half, which is not bad. I'm going back this weekend because, of course, that's what normally it's good to use your fresh produce within that week because it's gonna go bad. We all know that when it's the store bought, pretty much is gonna last way too long, longer than it's supposed to. But one thing, when I did go to the Charlotte farmers market in the past, when I went on like Fridays, there's never really nobody out there. But on Saturdays, I went on Saturdays after I worked out. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people out there. I was so happy. There was so much variety. One thing that the Farmer Bernard, he talked about is that how it's not enough of us out there, and it's really not. And I was really looking around for black farmers, and I did find one, but they only took cash and only had debit. And I was like, dang it, because I would have, bought something from their, from them. But next week, this weekend, I am definitely going to make sure I have cash so I can buy something from them, just to show support. And then, of course, I'm going to go to another farm that's out there that sells a lot of stuff. But I really enjoyed that. That's something I'm definitely dedicating now, to just go to farmers market, support farmers and things of that nature, because I don't know, I don't be feeling right eating even that store bought so-called organic. I don't think it's really organic. I don't know. It's just, you can't trust your food. And one person asked a really good question when there was questions at the end of the seminar. One person asked, how do you know if the foods that the farmers are selling are really organic? And what the answer that the Farmer Bernard Obi said, he advised to get to know the farmer, talk to the farmer, ask, how do they grow their crops, of course. Ask if you can visit their farm. And sometimes I notice is that some of the farms, like their little, where they set up their area where they're displaying their food, they'll have pictures of their farm, and sometimes they have information. But that makes completely good sense. He said to just get to know the farmer. Pretty much that's the best way to do it. And then another person also chimed in. He said what you do is you take a piece of your fruit or vegetable and you put it outside and see if ants or insects start to become attracted to it. If they come to it immediately. If they don't, then you know that it's not organic. If they do, then yes. And I say that is so true, because I remember over the summer, that's all I was buying before it got really deep into the summer. All I was buying was organic food. And man, oh man, ooh, they had a field day, because I had some fruit flies. It took forever to get rid of them things. I had some apple cider vinegar. Oh my goodness, I had so many fruit flies. It was driving me crazy. And that's part of the reason why, even though I was eating good organic, it was driving me crazy, and I felt like I had to put everything in the refrigerator because everything was the fruit flies was even eating on my toothbrush. I had to throw away my toothbrush. I had to throw away so much. I was like, oh my God, they getting on everything. And I use a lot of organic stuff like shea butter, my soap, everything. I was just like, oh my goodness, my black soap, they trying to eat on that. I was just like, oh my goodness. Oh, but I'm glad that's over with. Okay. But What else? What else? There was a quote that I'm pretty sure you may have heard, but I forgot who said it. But in the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation that Farmer Bernard Obi had, he had mentioned that to control, you want to control the people, you control their food. I don't know who made that quote, but I've heard it before more than one time. But that is so true, because what you can get into the mind, I mean, what you put in your mouth, you know. What am I trying to say? I'm like getting a brain fart. But what you put in your body is very important, because to me it reflects what is going on amongst you. Like, I know that when I eat, let's say I want to I say it's cheating. Like, let's say sometimes I feel guilty for eating pizza or eating like pasta or whatever like that. When I eat stuff like that, I be feeling guilty, you know. And sometimes when I, eat a lot of, I feel like junk food. I call it junk food, even though it's still vegan. I mean, it's still like not meat and, all that. But sometimes, or like when I was transitioning, and let's say I was like, oh, I'm going to eat this piece of candy, I'm going to eat this, even though I haven't eaten this in a long time, and you go back and you try to eat it. Like, let's say when I went vegetarian, I wasn't vegan yet, but I was vegetarian, and I hadn't eaten any like sugar, like a whole bunch of sugar. I didn't eat meat or anything. So I went to Baskin Robbins with my sister, and I got some pralines and cream ice cream, which is ice cream that I grew up on. I loved it. That was my favorite ice cream. Well, I ate it. Even though I love pralines and cream ice cream, it just wasn't like the same anymore. I immediately, not long after I ate that, I immediately felt the effects of it. I was just like, no, my body don't like cow milk no more. Because I was vegetarian at that time, but I wasn't eating like eggs. I wasn't eating dairy, because knew I was going to become vegan. So I was already, starting off. So when I ate that, my body was like, no. It immediately felt the effects of it. Even now, when I eat certain things that is not necessarily, just straight up meat or whatever, or, sugar, just straight white sugar, but my body just immediately just like, no, you don't need that. But I feel like I'm really rambling on. This is really long. Oh my goodness. Another thing he said was learn composting and practice it. Grow some of your own food. Partner with an enlightened elder who has land and may be mobility challenged or otherwise limited. Get to know your ecosystem and microclimate and use them to your advantage. Learn how to cook fresh foods. Live simply and work for community development, and understand the connection between food and health, which is so true. This was a good lecture. I enjoyed it. After that there was also a fast class because of the fall equinox. And I forgot the name of the guy who was running that class. Apologies, I don't remember his name, but he advised to have at least 3 days of doing the fast. I didn't do it. I'm just going to be real with you. I didn't do it. But I feel like, man, I'm already vegan. I mean, of course you can fast more than them. I'm just saying, I'm just being real with you. I didn't feel like doing it, but I kind of wish I would have, because the weather is really starting to change, and my with the place I work at, really it's freezing and cold, and I know people are going to start getting sick. But yeah, but that's all I'm going to say for now, because after this video is already long. It's long. But thank you so much for watching, and see you later.